The release of this memo comes amid months of relentless attacks by President Trump against the very people who are leading the Russia investigation. This memo is not a legal document, not an intelligence finding. And tonight, even the president's own lawyer says it's the opinion of the Republicans who wrote it. President Trump tonight defying the FBI and Justice Department. Why make this memo public?
I think it's a disgrace what's happening in our country. A lot of people should be ashamed of themselves, and much worse than that.
By midday, that memo, first leaked to conservative media outlets, was posted by House Republicans. It accuses senior law enforcement officials of abusing their powers to spy on a former Trump campaign advisor, Carter Page, who they suspected was a foreign agent for Russia. The memo alleges the application for a warrant relies on an unverified dossier compiled by Christopher Steele, an ex-British intelligence operative, and fails to disclose the role of the DNC or Clinton campaign in funding Steele's efforts. But tonight, a Democratic congressional source says the court was told about Steele's political bias, but may not have been specifically told that the information was financed by Democrats. A former government lawyer says what matters is whether Steele knew what he was talking about, not what motivated him.
We shouldn't be surprised when our informants, the bases for our affidavits, are less than savory.
Democrats in the intelligence community argue the memo is inaccurate and misleading. The disputed document also reveals that Trump-appointed Justice Department officials, including Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, were among those who signed off 4 times on renewing warrant requests, meaning the surveillance of Carter Page was producing results. Its release unprecedented, undercutting trust between the intelligence community and members of Congress that oversee it.
It's that undermining of the trust which makes it enormously more difficult for the FBI and the CIA to do their jobs.
Tonight, FBI Director Christopher Wray sending a message to all of his employees, strongly defending his agency, making clear he's not going to leave. Peter Alexander, NBC News, the White House.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.